Hello, hello. Welcome to the Trio of Positivity podcast, boys and girls. The boys are together to look at the Chicago sports landscape, bring some positivity into your life. This is your host, Bupen, my Positive Brigade member, Mike and Chris, with me. We also have a very, very special guest flying in all the way from the West Coast, a sports blogger for Barstool and owner, leader, manager of Stathold Sports, Mr. Jeff. No last name given. How are you, sir?
We don't do last name.
All right, I'm good. How are you doing, Boopin? Also, no last name given, right?
Yeah. We didn't want to get doxxed. That's basically been our thought process.
Don't think that's doxing. I don't think names are doxing.
You'd be surprised how much you can find out when you have a full name of someone.
Really, Mike Miller? Really?
Yeah. Good luck with that.
I found a Mike Miller accountant in New Jersey. Miller, Chris, what's going on, boys? What's happening with you?
Life's good, man. I'm up in the Cheesehead State this week. That's why my background's a little different. It's not as white and shiny, but all good. Hanging out, eating some cheese curds like you do up in the Cheesehead State.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. Check in on the Packers for me. I don't know. Are they feeling the love? Let's figure it out.
Last place.
I love that. Chris, how are you? What's going on with you?
I am good. I made a big mistake. I thought I had homework due for Thursday of this week. Turns out it was for next week, so I spent 6 hours in school for no fucking reason today. But other than that, it's been fantastic. I won my fantasy matchup 2 in a row.
Damn.
So,
See what happens when you draft a good team? You're welcome.
Or listen to us, I think. I don't know which one it was, but
listen, I will. Like I said before, Miller's completely responsible for the drafting of my team, and I won 138-98, so not too bad.
Oh wow, that is impressive. Some other people also won. We'll not mention who. People know. They know who it is.
So can we just? I'm just gonna cut right into it. I don't know if it's in the agenda because obviously I'm the most prepared of the group.
It's not.
So. For those that don't know, these three knuckleheads here are in a very high limit, high stakes fantasy football.
Triple digit buy-in.
Triple digit buy-in. And the gentleman that is our special guest is always responsible for a midseason report. I am not in that league, but I somehow always seem to show up in the midseason report, and
all positive things about you always.
It's been quite some time that I've done any of that. So, just wanted to see, how is the league going from the commissioner's side of things? How have you guys been enjoying the league so far?
Oh, well, Chris, you always get the first copy of the report. I send it to you before any of the other 11 fucks in the league. So that's first. Because for anyone listening,
full disclosure, Jeff will only text me 3 times a year. For my birthday.
That's not true. I have no idea when your birthday is.
Every now and then, the happy holidays, and then it's like, hey, I sent you the email of the midseason report. Those are the 3 text messages that I'll get from Jeff on a year.
I have to make sure you read it. You open the email and read it before I send it to them.
I figured that. I figured that there was some kind of notification. I get a crack out of reading that the whole time.
And just for listeners, background here, Chris used to be in the league and kind of had a fire sale issue.
Robbed.
I don't remember exactly the details.
My accomplice is down here. I got robbed, only to find out that someone else tried to do the same shit like 1 or 2 years after I did it. It was okay. There was no issue. Like, fuckers.
So there's I can't say the award because it's the last name. I almost doxed you. Anyway, the Chris Award, we'll call it the Chris Award, goes to the absolute worst player in the league. Anyway, real quick, that I was thinking about this. My whole sliding doors story into like blogging for Barstool and doing all that is from the midseason report. I mean, you guys know that, right? Go even further back, the commissioner before me, Steve Barry,
He was the
booted.
commissioner? I forgot.
We give
You don't
his
remember
full name
this?
out. We give his full name out.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's just as common as Mike Miller. It's
There's
fine.
30,000 Steve Perrys. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, he might be listening or watching. Anyway, he was such a bad commissioner that he didn't collect any dues, and I think at that point he had his brother's friends were in the league and didn't pay. So it's really that I should be thanking them, I think, for that. But yeah, for Miller's rolling his eyes.
But didn't a couple people leave, and that's how a couple of us got brought in? Because that's when the whole name change came. That's when the whole name change came in of the league, right?
Well, it probably was Barry's brother's friends, is what I'm guessing.
It was Steve's fault because it was like changing every year because we were from Chicago and he was traveling the United States. So that's why the name changed.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, mid-season report. It's the best thing ever. Once a year, just a good, 12-chapter little note to every team, just to give them some support and love, and to make sure they're still invested in the season and they don't quit halfway through.
Support
Definitely,
and love.
Yeah, you definitely
definitely all it is. That's
build
all
up.
it is.
So much support,
Just
enthusiasm, build up.
Want to keep you guys hyped and positivity. That's what this podcast is all about, and that's what I'm all about as a commission. You guys know that.
And we love you so much as a commish. I mean, we can't say enough positive things about you. Like the fact that you get this trophy and that trophy's still all together and it's gone. It's a fucking complete clusterfuck.
I'm waiting for the story of you guys saying like, yeah, we're gonna revolt. We're gonna ask Jeff to step down, or
we do that every year.
Nothing ever happens though.
No, there's a comment box. I have a comment box for anyone to put to if they want to vote someone out of any position that they might be in. There is a comment box.
All right.
You need to apply for it to get it, but there is one.
Get access to it.
All right, we will take the rest of this into Jeff After Dark version of this podcast, where he just sits down and tells us all.
Dark. That's my next podcast coming soon. Jeff After Dark.
I don't know if I can get it out, but today's episode we'll do a quick reaction on Week 6, give you a rundown of the Bears win in London, share some findings with you, some trends in fantasy that will help you. We have Jeff to give us some pretty cool stats that hopefully we find it fascinating every time we read something. So we brought him on so he can talk about some of that stats with you. Hopefully you find it just as interesting as we did. Starting here, Week 6 reaction. I'm going to get it out of the way because I'm the most prepared here. I wanted to talk about the rookie quarterbacks and how they came to life in Week 6. Our Lord and Savior, Mr. Caleb Williams, finished number 1 overall in fantasy points. Drake May, Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, they were 9 through 11 in fantasy ranking. Even Spencer Rattler finished top 20. So, boys, I wanted to ask you, is this just a blimp, or is this something, do you think this will play out the rest of the year, the rookie quarterbacks being better than average?
Well, I think the main thing when it comes to rookie quarterbacks is the thing they always talk about, and that's usually the second-year curse. Now, obviously, you have the guy from Houston that isn't fucking dealing with that right now. But historically, they usually have a come back to earth moment that second year. So usually when these guys enter the league, there's not a lot of film on them. They don't know how they're going to play. They don't know what the offensive scheme is going to be for them. So I think there is an adjustment period. I think a lot of them, specifically Rattler, I don't know that he played the best game. I know his defense was hanging around a little while, keeping him in the game, and obviously they have Alvin. But Drake May definitely made some eye-popping throws from what I saw, so that was good to see. And who knows, maybe this is the exception to the first-round draft QBs rule. Maybe they're all going to be decent.
I was trying to look up some stats, Jeff. I don't know if you have something. I had a hard time finding it, but 5 out of 6 quarterbacks, I think, that's taken the first round, all doing decently, average, better than average. I thought this is an anomaly, so I just pulled it up. Anything you want to share about Week 6 that stood out to you?
Well, I mean, with regards to your question, yeah, I think as far as the top 3, May, Daniels, and Williams, they're They're showing up. I think Daniels really hit the ground running. Obviously, everyone knows that the most. And it kind of makes sense with the style of offense that they're running. I actually took a look at his passing chart a day or two ago, and versus Caleb. In my estimation, it does seem like Caleb's path, even though he started slower. It's almost like the tortoise and the hare here. It looks like his trajectory is a little bit more sustainable than what I'm seeing out of Daniels. But Daniels is just so deadly accurate. I think he's a lot more accurate than Caleb is right now, just generally speaking with the ball. But looking at the passing chart for Daniels, I saw a lot of short passes to the right. I don't know if they're wide receiver screens or maybe, up to about 5 yards or so, but definitely I think that kind of stuff is defensive coordinators are starting to see that emerge now. And I think as far as the second year slump Miller was talking about might come a little bit earlier for him. However, you can't take anything away from what he did against Baltimore. I thought they lost by 7 to a team that could very easily be in the Super Bowl. Even though that's a loss, that's one of those statement losses for Washington. I think. You keep hearing about it. It doesn't have to be a competition between Caleb and Daniels, and I think that's true. I think they're both going to be really good. And Drake May just started. He's on an absolute crap team with nothing around him, and he still he showed something. So. And Bo Nix is a wild card. I don't know what to think of him. He ruined me from my survivor pool when they were in Tampa Bay. For whatever reason, because I picked Tampa Bay, he turned into John Elway for a day. And so that was that. So I don't know what to think of him. I think he's probably going to be inconsistent. He's just a wild card.
Miller, what you got?
So my reaction to week 6 is going to be something that I saw, and it was in regards to casinos, and this being the worst week for casinos,
Publicly big,
historic, because almost all of the favorites I think won. I think one of the exceptions is the Bears, and that was basically a coin flip. But I know in my pick'em pool, straight up pick'em pool, I got basically all of them right. I know we had our winners in our pick'em. We had 3 winners that got every single pick right. So I think a lot of the picks this week were on point, just because the favorites won in so many of these games. So it's kind of crazy to see. It's one of those rare weeks where I was thinking I was doing good, but I wasn't, because I just went chalk and all the chalks won.
No, that makes sense. The parlay we never hit this week, so it makes sense that the rest of the public also won this week.
That's true. I won my first parlay this week. That's sad, but so honestly, I think Vegas is doing fine. This is like boo-hoo. You took everyone's money in weeks 1 through 5, and now you took a little hit. Okay.
I think I don't know. I heard one of the podcasts talk about that. It was coming too last week. They were public has been taking a beating this year so far. There'll be one of the weeks when it gets corrected. So it's just probably normal correction. Chris, you
have anything to add? Mr. Quiet Boy.
Hey, we have a guest. We have a guest of honor. We got to make sure everyone gets their point across, because there's certain points that I want to make.
I appreciate you, Chris. I appreciate you.
I'm glad one of us here does. I was just happy to see the fucking Cowboys get their shit kicked in. That was so great to see. It made me very happy. Also, the fact that the Bears played pretty early and then I got to kind of sleep in and then just watch in the afternoon. I don't mind that. I'd like some more of that. That was a good time.
Yeah. Okay. That
Try being out in California and doing that.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I'm sipping my coffee and watching. Actually, it wasn't, because at the start of the game sucked. So as I was getting caffeinated, I was getting more and more pissed off. But then things calmed down.
All right. I think that's a pretty decent transition into our first topic. We're talking about the Bears-Jags game that both of you just referenced. The Bears had a lovely tea party in London. at the Jags' expense in a stadium that felt like Soldier Field with an overwhelming amount of fans in attendance. We pummeled the Jags 35-16 in a convincing fashion.
Put
Miro,
some
throw it over
respect
to
on
you.
that field. That field is a lot better than Soldier Field. Just wait till they build it in Arlington. But continue.
Yeah,
No,
that's
no.
fair.
I was
All
just
fair.
about to say tons of Bears fans traveled. Some of the London, like the NFL media, was out there, and they were talking about for the first time it actually felt like a team was being supported in London because it's usually a mixed match of fans and something like that. Bears fans were over 50%, they said, which is awesome to see and great for them to support, the Bears team there, which is kind of cool to see too. But kind of Jags are the home team, right? I don't know. That
No,
was
they
so
were
No,
not.
weird.
we were the home team this
We're the
one.
home team. Okay.
So they fucked over all the season ticket holders, obviously,
Wow.
by losing a game. But let's just talk about some history. Okay, can we? Can we talk about it?
Take us
Mr.
back,
Caleb
Mr.
Williams
Oh God.
is the first Bears rookie QB to throw for 3 touchdowns since 1999.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, Jesus. It's not all. He's the first QB ever to throw 3 TDs and run for 50 yards in London. Hallelujah, Jesus.
Hallelujah.
For the Bears, and this offense having put up 35 points in its second straight game, that has been done for the first time since 1966. Hallelujah.
That
And
is
this
sad.
and this is the 10th time in Bears history a QB has thrown for 4 TDs. Hallelujah, Jesus. Yes, that is our Bears. And Caleb Williams led the way. And Chris still isn't happy.
Wait, guys! Breaking news! I think Bears just scored again. Oh no, they're in the bye, but they just scored again. That's how good they were this week. Sorry, throw it in there.
That was so stupid. But no, nonetheless, obviously Caleb and the Bears had a really good game, a really complete game. I would say Caleb threw for 226, 4 TDs, one horrible interception that we all talked about. But I think the only comparison that you can make with him and his progression is he's basically the NVIDIA of NFL quarterbacks because he started at a 50 quarterback rating and now he's at 126. He's almost as high as you can get. So he shot up after 6 games. Like you can't get much more positivity than that.
I'm out. I feel attacked. What was the word you just used? What was the word
You
you
feel
just
attacked?
No.
NVIDIA,
NVIDIA?
the stock?
Say it
The
again.
stock? NVIDIA? The stock?
It's a stock. It's the hot new stock.
You should know
It's
what
the next
NVIDIA
Google.
is. It's in all the fucking.
Nvidia.
That's what I said.
No, you said Nvidia. Like there's another letter in. I'm not gonna get started. Moving. Go ahead.
Well, you did.
Everybody else knew what I was talking about.
I was ready to go on my phone and be like, "What is this word Nvidia?" It's like, is it Nirvana or something? Like I don't understand. Like I feel attacked. I get that I'm back in school, but holy shit, don't use big words around me. Only
Really?
for him
Because
to not pronounce it.
NVIDIA and NVIDIA is. Oh my
You didn't
god.
say Nvidia.
I
Guys,
said
take,
NVIDIA.
you can discuss this in Jeff's After Dark podcast too. Okay.
Yeah, I do need a drink now, actually.
Yeah. I told you
Hopefully,
this.
we'll,
Drinking is encouraged in this podcast.
no, just wanted to bring up the Jags on the Jags side of the ball. These is like the first drive, right? We went 3 and out. We punt the ball. They have long, 8-minute drive. Get to the end zone, penalty. Gabe Davis drop, kick a field goal, right? And then later, I think beginning of the third quarter, Evan Ingram first play fumble. That was the story. I think our defense was already like stifling them. They could do very limited things. When you start dropping passes and fumbling the ball, I think Etienne also fumbled. So like all that kind of like came together along with the offense. Like after I think the second quarter, like I don't think we punted the ball at all. We just kept going and going, scoring, and next thing you know, it was 35-16. So that was awesome to see.
Jeff,
Miller,
before we move on, Jeff, after this you can go get a drink, okay, and then I'll talk. But
Well, you have more stats
there's been a
that came
lot
out
of
fucking nowhere.
contention. There's been a lot of contention on this podcast because some people want a backup quarterback because Fields just got benched. You see what I did that? To be the starter of the Bears. And
That's not what was said. But go ahead.
so what is your opinion on how Caleb has how he's been playing so far?
Oh, just overall?
Just overall. Yeah. What's your
I think
takeaway?
it's been I guess a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, but the other way around. So that's a good thing. It started bad, but I really don't think it was his fault. I think it was Shane Waldron. Shane Waldron is the problem. But here's the deal with Shane Waldron. He's dumb, but he knows he's dumb because he listened to his players when they had the little intervention with him to be like, yo, can we stop doing these fucking wide receiver screens when everyone knows they're coming? What does that look for? That
They
happens.
still do wide receiver screens.
He does that all the time. It's a thing. He thinks that we're not live
Yes,
or anything.
okay.
It's a thing. Yeah, he's fine.
You're right. I actually do have that as a note. Is I do want his. I think Caleb's air yards is still like 3 or something stupid like that. His average air yards. So yeah, but there's progress. Like he listened. Their very first good play was that Cole Kmet touchdown down the middle. Cole Kmetrick out in London, as I called him. But I am very impressed with not only his play on the field, but his like willingness to actually be a leader and go to the coach in his rookie season after 5 weeks. Actually, it might have been I forget when he did exactly, but to kind of be the leader behind the scenes, not just on the field.
Did you guys?
It's not something that Justin Fields ever did. Justin Fields, I love the kid. I was rooting for him last year, and he got me at the end of the season thinking about what we could get in a haul until I watched some Caleb Williams film, and then I was like, all right, that's
That's that.
I want
That's
that. that ended
I mean,
that.
I know we're talking about week 6, and obviously because you're our first guest of the season, we kind of have to backtrack a little bit. When this game was happening, I think it was very much, and I've said it in multiple times in the podcast, that the play calling just kind of seemed to be consistently bad early on, and it was almost the same thing that happened with Fields, where it's like a lot of times when you see Fields have a great game, it was most of the time him doing something out of nothing, but we always blamed the play calling. It was always just the play calling that did not make sense. And at the beginning of the season, you can kind of see the same thing happening where it's like we didn't know what we have almost. Would you say that that's about accurate, and now there's a little bit more confidence in I almost said Fields, in Caleb, that he's actually staying in the pocket, like he's actually looking through his progressions that we've seen week to week?
I think his progression looking has been great from the start, to be honest. But yeah, I think the confidence is starting to come up maybe a little bit. But with that said, to Miller's point earlier, it's not where it could be. One stat I looked up that I remember kind of thinking this during the game and being annoyed by it. 2nd and longs, they're running too much. I don't need you to pass every single time, but I found just in the Jacksonville game, they had 9 2nd and 7s or more. 6 of them, they ran the ball. That's too much.
interesting. So we wanted to touch on Sin Waldron too. It's funny you brought him up. Supposedly he was not scripting the first 15 plays, as it's typical for a coach to do. I looked at a couple of interviews too. And I was just thinking to what you said too. Maybe it was done for Caleb. Like they had plays that they would be like, here's the bucket of plays we're gonna call, but they were not scripted as much, just to give him the liberty to be like, hey, we may call this, we may call that. So that after the meeting, they started calling more structural 15-20 plays. Here's how we start the game. So that was an interesting read there too. Maybe confidence, maybe reads, whatever it is. Now they are letting him. We are doing more scripted game script too.
Yeah, and I understood that was part of their conversation too, because that everyone was saying that that's pretty abnormal to not script 15 plays, and we kind of hear that proverbially everywhere that's kind of how it goes. I do have a little bit of a take on it though. That seems kind of high school football-y to have a set play. It's almost like you're gonna run it no matter what. Like you're gonna run some crossers even when they're showing like zone.
It's
but
2nd and 30, but we're supposed to run.
Yeah, but hang on real quick, Miller. But I think to Shane's credit though, he's given Caleb, from what I can tell, a lot of bandwidth as far as how to change the plays at the line. So whether if he doesn't want to have like a specific 15 plays to give him, I guess it doesn't bother me that much, because I've been seeing him allow Caleb to to read a defense and make an audible or whatever to what he sees. And I think he's trusting Caleb to do that, which he should. That's what you should do. And great of Caleb to be 6 weeks in and already, having that sort of Peyton Manning like cerebral understanding of the game.
The only thing I would say on the first point of scripting plays is I think that these NFL games are so much more of a chess match than us casual fans really realize. And I think those 15 plays set the stage for the rest of the game when it comes to the defensive look in certain sets. So I don't think the 15 plays necessarily mean that this is the end all be all, but I think the coaches use that for the game planning for the rest of the game, how to choose the plays going forward.
Not only that though, I think the 15 plays should help more in this case because he is a rookie. So even with that, having that process of knowing like, all right, this is what we're expecting, and right away he's seeing that these types of looks are not working. Where if you're unscripted and you're kind of trying to play or trying to do calls in a way where it's like, well, let's see what they'll do to this instead of like, well, let's prep to see if we can make more runs. Because I think with this, you can kind of see that Swift was more active in these last couple games, but I think it's because they've changed that up a lot in comparison. The one thing I will say is that us Bears fans, calm your tits. It was Jacksonville. Calm your tits. It was Jacksonville. That's all I'm going to say.
I've got some calm your tits stats, but go ahead.
The only thing I will say, Miller was talking about all these historical stats and whatnot. Three touchdowns with 50 yards. That's too specific. Can we get like 3 touchdowns and 45 yards? Maybe was there more names? No, Miller probably found those stats because he loves Caleb. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy myself a good Caleb here and there. But you
don't seem very positive, Chris.
Oh, I'm the most positive of the crew.
Jesus Christ.
I'm the most positive of the crew.
And can we one thing that I listen to radio. I'm on Twitter way too much. We all know this. But one thing I heard that is a very good point. When was the last time anybody talked about the Bears? Oh, they only beat Jacksonville. Like, we don't ever get that. Good teams get that. Can't we just be happy? We fucking destroyed Jacksonville.
We made it. Wait, so be happy that we made it to the stage where we're being called frauds? I like that take.
Right.
I like that take. Yes.
Be happy. We beat the teams that we needed to beat by a lot. Like,
when we're dog shit later on, it hurts more instead of now where it's
we may not be. Maybe we're gonna be in big games.
Yeah, it's still a question mark.
No.
Do you want to know? Okay. Do you guys know? Do you want to do a pop quiz? Let's do a pop quiz.
Oh God.
No looking this up.
No, Chris will start. He's in school. Chris goes first.
All right.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, what is the combined record of the teams that we beat this year? 5 seconds.
Quickly.
Hold on. There were 6 games.
This is a podcast.
So I'm gonna say we've only had opponents that had 4 wins.
6.
7.
Was it 5? That'd be funny.
Wait,
4 wins.
Oh, was it 4 wins?
Get fucked, losers.
Panthers, Jaguars.
I guess I was combining it all into one, and I guess we beat them along the way. Is that the current total?
Yeah, I believe so.
I had to run the list in my head, and I'm like, nope, I don't recall more than 1 there.
Okay, Chris, you got lucky. You're not that good at math. We know. Come on.
Fuck you. Yes, I am. Math was my favorite subject.
All right, Billy, you want to tell us about a couple of the people whose stocks are rising?
Yeah, let's jump into stock rising, stock falling really quick. Please interject when you can. We got some shit last week about our lack of props to the defense, even though we did cover multiple subjects. But just overall, the defensive play that we've gotten has been off the charts. This is the 12th straight game holding opponents to 21 points or fewer. That is phenomenal. That goes into last year, obviously. We finally got a Montez Sweat sighting. We've been wanting it for several weeks. He finally showed up, got a sack, Kevin Byard has been really good in this secondary, not only with his leadership, but I believe he got an interception this week, along with interception last week. He's playing really well in that Eddie Jackson spot that we all knew Eddie was a fucking failure, but hey, whatever. But the defense overall has been so good to watch, and they've just been dominating these, albeit shitty teams, but they've really been showing their strength and proving that they're one of the best defenses in the league. Another standout, we've all been, maybe not we all, but I know Stat Hole has been scrolling Twitter, and I've been scrolling Twitter, so we've all seen the Tevin Jenkins, the video of him just straight dominating his guy and then pushing half the Jaguars defense to the ground. He had a great game. He's been dealing with an injury. Who knows how that's going to be, if that's going to affect him going forward. But he had a great game. He's really proving that he can be that solid offensive lineman that we need, that tough SOB, if you will. Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet both came out big performances.
Chris, you should be celebrating.
That's my favorite stat. Just those were two names that we've been talking about for quite some time, and about fucking time. That's all I can say about that.
It's so interesting seeing this this core, these offensive weapons, because it seems like whether you're talking about DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, Roma Dunze, Keenan Allen, like the ball's going to get spread around, and we knew it going into the season. Any given Sunday, one of these guys will make an impact, but none of them are divas. We don't have any issues on this team. They all know their role. They're all getting targets. I mean, DJ, Kmet, and Keenan all had 5 targets this game. So it's just good to see Caleb spreading the ball around throughout the whole offense. And the other thing that has kind of creeped its head in these last 2 games is Caleb's legs. He put up 56 yards on the ground this week and 34 last week. I know it's helping somebody's fantasy team over there. He's finally performing, but it's kind of interesting to see him incorporating his legs into his overall. Like, we knew he can do it, but it's just he so much relies on his arm, even in college, that running for this much has been kind of surprising so far.
Yeah, I heard. So Jacksonville, I did hear their defensive coordinator runs a lot of cover 2, which is susceptible to leaving open lanes for quarterbacks, and that's exactly what happened. I think in the game, which allowed him to run. I did kind of get this vibe though that Caleb wants to be, and isn't already really a great pocket passer, that he doesn't want to default to running. He's anti Justin Fields. I think he doesn't want to run, even though he can, not like Fields, but still a hell of a lot better than the average quarterback. And he's very, very quick to slide too. I thought he left maybe 5-10 yards on that one slide. It was kind of I don't know, but
it was
I'll take
bad,
that.
yeah.
It was bad. Okay, but
I remember the one you were talking about because I was watching it, and he
almost stopped. Yeah, he almost curled back towards the defender to kind of huddle up,
But hey,
whatever.
Catch me.
If we don't have an Anthony Richardson situation, I'm okay with it. If we're losing a few yards, it's just for him to remain healthy. So be it.
Yeah. So I just want to real quick, Chris. So you're happy with Cole Kmet getting some love, right?
Yes.
Sounded like okay. So I give Shane Waldron some credit on that too, because he came in with his boy from Seattle, Gerald Everett, and thought that he was going to be the guy. I don't know why, but I think that's another data point to my theory that Waldron is dumb, but he isn't stubborn. So I'm okay with that.
At the end of the day, too, I completely agree with you. And the one thing that I've at least harped on over the last, maybe 8 games, including last season with Fields, is that there's only so much we can do with the quarterback if the play calling is just not there. And that's a lot of pressure on him to kind of do that. But the one thing that I've always said is if you have a young quarterback, you need a tight end, and you need to be able to push that confidence with him. And we weren't seeing it, and I'm just really happy to be seeing it now.
Okay, that's fair.
That's fair.
Let's jump into the stocks falling. I'm going to keep this short and simple because realistically, this was a fucking phenomenal game. So the biggest thing that I'm really holding my head down on is the injury bug that we have right now. Obviously, Stevenson and Brisker didn't play. Kyler Gordon got injured during the game. We still don't have information on that. And our long snapper just went out. But
Cole Kmet went out?
I know. That's what I was going to ask. Did we know Cole Kmet could play center? Because if we knew Cole Kmet could play center, would we really have Coleman Shelton start in the beginning of this fucking year? Like, he should have been playing both sides of the ball. Come on.
Yeah. Honestly, hot seat long snappers. Is it really that hard if a tight end can do it? It actually is. I've tried it. It's fucking hard.
He was like, thank God we didn't have to punt. Otherwise, we would be in trouble, is what he said. So,
yeah, I think we just signed a 2-time Pro Bowler for our long snapper. So hopefully that solidifies that role. And then the other thing, which stocks falling, not in my opinion, because the stocks are rising in my opinion, but the fact that Nate Davis and Velus Jones were healthy and active is just phenomenal. Finally.
Oh, yeah. I thought, wait.
Finally. So I'm saying that their stock is falling because they're shit, but I am loving it. I am rejoicing. So happy that that's finally an occurrence there. But that's the only thing I got that's the negatives because we rallied. We fucking rammed the Jaguars while we were sipping tea in the end zone with our pinkies up. So,
like the freaking NFL, whatever, London, whatever the channel, the Sky Sports, I think they show the games on. They were like pissy about it. They were like some other, I think it was a Panthers wide receiver that had a touchdown. He did some horse balls, some celebration, and that was really praised on. While Bears, like they were like, well, it's better than the Bears tea celebration or some bullshit. I was like, fuck you. Our celebration was so much better than theirs. But let's see. Jeff, what we do is before the game, we predict the score of this week. So last week, in predicting the scores, Miller is 6-0. There's an asterisk in the 6.0 because he kind of picked the Panthers to win.
No,
but
bullshit. I never kind of picked the Panthers. I said I thought it would be a close game because Dalton was coming back to Chicago. I never said that the Panthers.
We have the record, sir. Don't lie. But
because Dalton's always played well in Chicago.
Well, he thought it would be closer. He definitely thought they would be.
Well, keep in mind that was after they just destroyed the Raiders. Not that means much. But
anyway, Miller was closest to the score. He predicted 27-17. It ended at 35-16. So you win by.
I win
because we suck. No, we win because you suck. Oh, sorry, you win because we suck. I said it'd be 24-20 Bears. Obviously, not as close as you are. And Chris said 23-20. He thought it'd be a kicking game. So you win, Miller. Props to you for getting the closest to the score, whatever that means.
I'll go next week. This week, NA to NA. So that's my pick.
That's a close one.
You know what? We're not gonna compete. We're gonna win you. Put you as the winner.
I can compete with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're the undisputed king. But another thing we do, and you can chime in on this, is we do a positivity rating, right? How we're feeling about the Bears. 0 being like a Panthers team right now, to 10 being Super Bowl, right? That's our scale. As you guys think, shut up, Chris. As you guys think about this, I will give you a recap of where we were last week. Chris was at a 5.5 last week. Miller and I were at a 7. So, boys, as you are thinking this score, I'll kind of hone in on Jeff. Think of where his head's at, okay? Jeff, just for reference, I'm at a 7.5 out of 10. It was the Jaguars, so I don't want to give them a big bump up, but it was a win. We're 4-2 going into the bye. I'm at a 7.5 out of 10. For the Bears, positive outlook. I know the schedule gets much tougher in the back end, but right now we're riding high. Where are you at with the Bears positivity 0 to 10?
First blush, I'll go 8.5. Very positive.
8.5.
Look, so here's the deal. You can all call me an idiot, and that's fine. But I did a blog saying the Bears are Super Bowl contender this year, and I didn't care if everyone thought that was stupid. and it looked pretty bad after a couple of weeks because the biggest reason that would fail would be the offensive line. I knew it, and I just figured that Poles, being a fucking offensive lineman, knew something that I didn't because he's been so great otherwise. So I put trust in that, and it looked absolutely awful. And then all of a sudden, this guy Bill Murray, it's like a Chicago fan somewhere said, "This line is such shit. We may as well just put, I don't know, Bill Murray in it."
Oh my god!
And what happened to that guy? Did he even play in Jacksonville? He was too good. He was making everyone look bad. Okay,
Well,
fair.
Tevin didn't go down. He played because of Tevin going down.
We'll put him somewhere else. There's enough bad players we have on that line. He go somewhere. Put him for Braxton Jones.
He's a guard. He's not a fucking.
Who cares? Is Braxton Jones really a tackle?
He's better than Bill Murray. Who's our right guard? Was Kramer our right guard?
I think so. Anyway, back to my rating here. Everything else is looking kind of like I envisioned. So the targets that not only the number one quarterback of the draft, but the number one quarterback since prospect-wise since Andrew Luck, since Mahomes was a bit of a surprise. Trevor Lawrence, I don't think so. People go back to him being a generational quarterback. I never saw it. Anyway, you can debate that.
You never saw the two college championships?
I saw it, and I thought he was good, but
he was lights out in college. Come on, give the kid credit.
Yeah, but he ran so much. He did. It was a college-y offense. I don't know.
Oh,
anyway.
Our right guard is Matt Pryor for the record.
Yeah, dude, that guy is huge.
No fucking idea.
Have you seen that dude? That dude is huge. Like, he makes offensive linemen look like regular people.
6'7", that's him. Big boy.
Anyway, yeah. Caleb Williams is blossoming as good or even better as I would have hoped. I think with our cuck of an offensive coordinator being okay with the team taking over, that's been a good thing because Caleb Williams is smart. He studies. He does everything you need to do, and he's got all of the talents he can't teach. So, yeah, 8.5, I think I don't think they're going to win the division. I think the Lions are probably going to go to the Super Bowl, but
you mean the Vikings?
No, the Lions. The Vikings are going to phase out.
Are we all in the same boat that we think 3 playoffs teams are coming from the NFC North? Anyone else coming to that?
I think at least. I think at least 3. I think it could be 4. I don't know. I'm not as high on the Lions anymore.
I
think their injuries
from Aiden.
Yeah,
from Aiden.
I think both, and they lost their defensive tackle.
I don't
they
know.
Lost two guys on the line.
They're flexing, man. They're doing lateral plays just because they're bored. I don't know.
No, it's true. It's true. We'll see.
They're very impressive, and they should have gone to the Super Bowl last year. Let's be honest. They blew it in San Francisco.
They'll be okay. They'll bite kneecaps if they have to.
Boopin 7.5. Jeff here is 8.5. Miller, where are you at?
7.5. Go up a little bit, like Boopin said.
Well,
Chris is at a 3.
Chris is 4, -4.
No, how much was I at last week, Boopin?
5.5.
You know what? 6.5.
Oh, you went up a whole point.
Wow.
It's Jacksonville.
Stop. Okay. I guess we are to that segment of the show. Jeff, this is probably where your stats come in. So shower us with your stats here. Is it about the Jags game or something else?
Careful where you're showering. Jesus.
Oh, we're talking about, is this the my blog stuff?
Yes,
okay,
he failed to mention that.
He's been drinking.
That's fine, Boopin. I got you. Okay, so yeah, I got a few. Let's stick. What we were talking about the NFC North and how many teams might make the playoffs. So let's stick there. Green Bay is 4-2. They are the only 4-2 team that's ever been dead last in the division. They're dead last to the Bears because the tiebreaker after head-to-head is division record. Bears haven't played anyone yet, and Green Bay lost to the Vikings, so they are technically dead last in the division. So suck it, Green Bay. But so that kind of pivots to the NFC North. Obviously, so you've probably heard all the four highest point differentials in the league are all in the NFC North. And this is by far the largest point differential through week 6 in any division since 1970, when division started. The last one, and I had this in the blog, let me find it here. The second highest was 2013. It was the AFC West. So that was the year Peyton Manning absolutely lit it up with Denver
Broncos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and their point differential was 173. So 211 this year for the NFC North versus the second highest, 173. Just destroyed it. It's unbelievable what's going on in this division. Who would have guessed the Vikings would be here? Like if you were to remove the Vikings from this and just show Vikings fans what the records and point differentials would be of the other 3 teams in the division, they would have been like, you know what, I'm just gonna go into a coma until August and wait for JJ to be healthy. And they've played good teams. Like I'll give credit. I know I said that Minnesota, I think they're going to fade a little bit, but they've played some of the best teams in the league too. You're just starting to see a little bit of, of regression from Darnold, but we'll see. I mean,
okay. Before you move on with your stats blog thing on the Vikings, I've been thinking the same thing for a long time for the Vikings this whole year, and I got a Vikings fan at work, and I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like, how long can I question this? Because like if you look at who we've played, who we've beaten, we've already talked about the fact that the teams that we've beaten have been trash. The teams that the Packers have beaten have been fairly trash. The Vikings the Lions have played some pretty decent guys. But the Vikings, they've played like the best. How long can we sit here and doubt Sam Darnold? The report came out that he's going to be getting $50 million next year. Sam fucking Darnold.
Reports that's talk because there's film. Again, it's this whole thing. Like people, as brilliant as Kevin O'Connell has been with him, he's still limited, and there's stuff on tape. They're able to start seeing what he's doing. A little bit more consistently after, and you're starting to see that kind of start to creep in. Like he's not regressing completely, but I'm just saying it's possible. I could be dead wrong.
We're all hoping for it. We're all hoping for it because I don't know. The Packers
look legit. All right, you guys remember the 3 games that Josh Dobbs was the fucking hottest thing in the NFL? Like that man is probably working at a grocery store right now. Like that's what I'm saying. There's just
you're gonna draw that comparison.
No, like what I'm saying is.
That was like one game.
Like it was 3 games, wasn't it? He won 3 games like out of nowhere. I think.
Sam Darnold is arguably one of the best fantasy quarterbacks in the league right now. Like he's putting up great numbers. Like he's not just doing Josh Dobbs where he's just falling into the end zone and leading the team. Like he's putting up like 300, 3 TDs. Like he's doing really good shit.
My point saying that was the system there is amazing, especially if you have a quarterback with some talent like Sam Darnold. Like they will do well, but like you said, it's a copycat league. They will see a team that does well, like copycat that, take it further. Like Jeff was saying, was they have more stuff on tape. I think this will be like next couple of weeks, next 2 to 3 weeks, will be very big for them. If they can sustain this for the next 2 to 3 weeks, then I think Super Bowl is.
I know they have the Lions this week, and we'll see what happens. I don't know, man. All I hope is that we know Darnold's probably not the future in Minnesota because they have JJ McCarthy.
No one's giving him $50 million.
I just hope Aaron Rodgers retires and he goes back to the Jets and the Jets pay him $50 million. That would be hilarious.
I understand what you guys are saying, but I think people forget that system quarterbacks tend to be a lot better when it comes to like that the law of averages. Like people forget Tebow had a playoff win. And some people didn't even.
I don't think people forget.
Come on.
That was
we're gonna talk about Tebow.
But this is what I'm saying though. Like some people look at playoff wins, and then when they look at them in the season, they're like, "Wow, It's kind of just like mediocre. Sometimes mediocre helps win games if you have other parts of the team that help you get there. Right now, of all the 4 teams in the NFC North, I think Minnesota is probably the most well-rounded right now until something happens. Like there's no other way to look at it. And as far as system quarterback goes, San Francisco is also another example of what you can do with a system quarterback. I mean, it's already working.
The bottom line is, if you're a system quarterback, you need to make the throws.
Right.
Darnold and Purdy are making the throws.
100%.
And the defense is leading the way. No one expected Minnesota's defense to be this good.
No,
I'll just say the difference to me, for Purdy and Darnold comparison is, their style of play has a lot of similarities, but only one of them has a history of seeing ghosts, and it's not Brock Purdy.
God, that's such a valid point.
In Sam Darnold's not defense, what I will say is their defense, Minnesota defense, the defensive coordinator who was a coach previously, supposedly has been scheming amazing game plans. It will throw man coverage at you all of first half, and like the second half when they do the adjustments or whatever, they will just play zone the whole time. So like the entire adjustments, the blitz that are coming that you're hopefully protecting against, they will just flip it on his head. And they have a coaching staff and the talent there to do that consistently, because that's why every team cannot do it, because you need players to be able to do it, and a system where you're able to do it. That's another thing that's like step up of the rest of the NFL too. They've been doing amazing things defensively, which they are able to do because of the talent they have. That's one thing I have read out there too.
All right, Jeff, bring us your 3 more of your sad stats of the week.
All right, yeah, so let's go with Jerry Jones. So Jerry Jones won the sad birthday off. There was a sad birthday off this week. It was between Jerry and Gino. Gino versus Jerry. Gino absolutely fucked me as a DK Metcalf owner on Thursday night. Probably left 20 points, maybe 30 off the board. And cost me the win. I hated him. He must have been doing some pre-party shots before the game. He was awful. But the winner is Jerry Jones. Since taking over the Cowboys, this was his worst home loss, watching from his sad birthday party suite. They lost by 38. Their prior worst loss was to Philadelphia. I think it was 33. I think that was 2001, maybe the McNabb era. I forget exactly. But in any case, sad birthday for Jerry Jones. Another one with Dallas, this guy, Ryan Flournoy, wide receiver, lost a fumble on his first career catch and first target. Boopin, I saw your head nod, wondering who the hell that is exactly. This is sad. A 6th-round pick. You wonder if he's ever going to get a chance again. That's made me wonder. So I went and ran some lookups to see if there is anyone that's ever caught one ball and fumbled, lost a fumble, and then never caught another ball again. And I found 2 people that have, and it's very sad.
No.
One of them, there's a couple of sad parts about both of them. Goodman, who's the first one? One of them was a 25-yard catch. So that's sad, because you have to think that somewhere along those 25 yards of him running with the ball that he thought this was his break, right? Like, I think he was an undrafted guy. Richard Goodman, that's him. October 24th, 2010. He was a Charger. Never got a chance again. And then the other guy, Robert Reed, in 1999, December 5th, also a Charger. A little bit of a different story. He only got 1 yard on his catch. So I'm just going to go on a limb here and say that he's the only receiver in NFL history, or only player in NFL history, with a 1-1-1-1-1 / targets, catches, yards, fumbles, lost. So he might not be a 1 of 1, but he is a 1 of 1 of 1 of 1 of 1. So he's got that going for him. For the Jaguars-Bears game, just to keep firing here, to keep it quick. So they gave up 4 consecutive touchdowns to the Bears after that interception. That's the tough team to do that to, even though the Bears are emerging. The sad part, though, with that is the last time that the Bears scored 4 consecutive touchdowns on drives was in 2020, and it was versus the Jaguars. So that's sad. Sad for the Jaguars. And then we already talked about the Packers being dead last in their division. So those are the good ones. I think it might have been one or two others, but
Love
there you
it.
go.
I love the sad stats. I love every week at Stathole Sports publishes the sad stats of the week. They're quite
No, Barstool Sports. Stathole Sports has been dead for since I got hired. The last blog
never
was
dead. It's still alive. It's alive here.
dead. I still follow you.
He doesn't get.
Well, no, I'm talking the actual website.
Right. That. See, Miller has this thing.
I didn't say .com. I said at Stathole Sports, the Twitter.
As I was
You
saying,
did.
Miller
You did.
has
No,
this thing
Chris,
that when-
Miller's right. Miller's
I
right.
didn't say .com.
Okay.
He didn't say .com.
He didn't say .com.
That is literally how
That's on
you
me.
say
Oh, what's
X.
this button do? Oh God.
I love you,
Fine,
Chris.
it's fine. It's fine. It's all good. All good. Let's move
No,
on.
I appreciate
Let's
that,
move on.
Miller.
Let's move on to my favorite segment, because you know why it's my favorite segment, Poopin? Do you really know why? Because I'm the champion in 2 of my fantasy leagues. So I'm happy to spread my knowledge to the wealthy,
we were done with that.
to the wealthy people of this world, with the hopes that making their lives a tad bit better. But I have to take a deep breath here, because I need to give props where props needs to get given, and I don't want to do this because it's just going to inflate the ego. But with a straight face as best as I can. Chris, you said a few weeks ago that you thought that this trade deadline was going to be active with big players. So I want to give you props.
Did anything happen today?
Today we had multiple big trades of big names. So props to you. We had Amari Cooper that went to the Buffalo Bills, and we had Devontae Adams that went to the Jets. So
really? Who would have seen that coming?
So hold on. So are you going to talk more about this on fantasy, or are we just going to talk about it in general? Because I have a question for the group. If you don't,
we're just talking about it in general.
In
I was
general?
just starting because I needed to give you props because I
appreciate that so much. Thank you. I'm clipping this and I'm going to keep it in my back pocket forever and everest. My question for the group: did the Jets actually make a good deal with how their draft pick is going to work? Like, it's a third, but that it can go into a second if he makes All Pro, or if they make an NFC, or I'm sorry, an AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl. Is that cheap?
It's a third. I don't think they're going to do any of that. I don't think he's going to be an All-Pro this year.
Also, they're taking all the money. I heard.
The Jets are taking all the money.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, is that not a cheap deal, kind of, for 1 year? You're only giving up a third?
It's a third-round pick. I don't know what you mean by cheap deal.
So here's the thing. A lot of times when we look at the draft value of players, when we were talking about what would be the package for Fields, when we were talking about last year's first overall pick packages, like, we were always saying, like, what is the one thing that people want to keep in their pocket as far as draft picks are concerned? There was reports that the owner wanted a lot more, if I recall. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I think he wanted like a second and a third. Don't quote me on that. I'm trying to see if I can remember.
Who? Who are you talking? Who's the owner?
Dante.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Raiders owner. He wanted a second and a third. He wasn't getting that, and then eventually there was a change of some kind, and then they're like, "Yeah, we'll give you a third." Because apparently this was done like right after the game yesterday.
I did hear that the owner wanted a second. So I mean, in all realistically, yes, it's okay deal. Didn't the Bears give up a third for Keenan? I think.
That's what I'm saying.
But I mean, the Jets are taking on a lot of money. They're taking on like 30 something
deal, though. It's a 1 year.
I get that, but it's still 30 something million.
It's not a 1 year deal.
Miller, they have Aaron Rodgers. They're in go. Like, it's
and why are we
Just
talking
go.
about GMs making decisions? Aaron Rodgers is right.
No, they are in go, but I don't think wide receivers were the problem with the Jets, right? I don't think that solves their problem.
Well, did you watch Mike Williams play yesterday?
I mean, he was not the problem. Like,
he was pretty bad. I think a ball hit him in the nuts and he didn't catch it.
But okay,
he's got big balls.
Quickly, quickly on the cap situation. Devontae's cap hit, or like Devontae's pay for the next 2 years is supposed to be $35 million.
No, they can get out. There's no dead cap after this year.
No, dead cap is $8.3 million after this year.
Oh, I heard it was nothing. But
It looks like
non-guaranteed.
Looks
The
like
2
they're doing
years
some
that he
cap.
has left are non-guaranteed. So
Looks like they're doing cap gymnastics. There's literally a note under the website that shows you the cap value. There's like a little note with his cap broken down. So they're doing cap gymnastics where they're basically trying to revert around all of this. But it looks like the dead cap will be 8.3 mil next year.
yeah, I think that's irrelevant. I was just more looking at it from what they gave up. I thought a third was cheap. If you want to look at it from a money perspective, sure, they might have overpaid, or they're going to overpay for that.
I think that's where the third comes in, because when you're giving up value, a lot of the times, if you're going to give up more, you're going to expect the other team to keep more of that salary. But because they're paying the entire salary, I think that's why they're getting away with a third.
Dude, this might be a controversial take. I'd probably have taken an offensive lineman for that third round, same cap money, and it would probably help Jets.
Well, you don't just get to take them; they have to agree to it, and no one trades offensive linemen.
No, that's true. But like, if you're trying to acquire something to get you over the top, I feel like that would have put them over the top. Than Devontae coming to them. I feel like at best this is like they're better by like 1 or 2 points at this point. I don't think it takes them over that.
You really don't like this trade, do you?
I don't like. There's only so many throws Rodgers can make if he's fucking on his back, you know? Like. But
again, no one's trading good offensive linemen. It's just unheard of in the NFL. That was my point. Not that, but I think why not? If you're the Jets, you have Aaron Rodgers. He's the oldest player in the league. Do anything you can to make a Mike Williams into a Devontae Adams, especially with their history. Like they don't need any priming weeks to get to know each other and develop a rapport. It'll take 2 days in practice to be like, oh yeah, this is like riding a bike.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. I don't think this will help them overall as far as their win total is concerned. I still don't know if I see them making the playoffs considering their 2-4 start, but I think it definitely improves their team because it does add that dimension. So it'll be interesting because, Boopin, you're right. Like, Aaron Rodgers can only throw it so much to the receivers on the field, and the defense was surprisingly pretty bad yesterday. I did not expect them to get run on the way they did. So we'll see how this changes, but you know what? Adding a player like Devontae, that caliber, it could revitalize the defense. It could revitalize the whole team. So anything's possible.
That's a heck of a point, too, right? Hassan Reddick is just sitting on the sidelines because they won't pay the man. And now this brought another.
No, that's not true. They paid him. They offered him a 1-year deal, a pretty good one, I heard, and he turned it down.
Switched agencies too, from what I've
heard.
Yeah.
So now they gave him the opportunity to search for a trade, and they're saying that that's just them trying to be like negotiating. Like, you're not going to get anything better than we're offering you. That's such a stupid situation. It's not going to end well for Reddick. Come on.
No, I think
it didn't end well for Bell. It's not.
Yeah, that's like a Le'Veon. I was just gonna say this is like a Le'Veon Bell. Like no one's been this dumb since Le'Veon Bell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, Le'Veon Bell ended up winning. If you actually look at
no, he didn't. He lost big time.
And he was out of the league in like a year.
He was out of the league for a year, and didn't he make 3-year like the highest? Didn't he have the highest contract he ever got after?
I mean, maybe, but he did not make good money.
Yeah, it wasn't amazing, and plus he lost whatever he would have made in that year.
Well, yeah, that's true. I was just more or less looking at it from a contract. The only other thing that I was going to bring up is that I believe with this move, given what I see in the schedule, I think they will make the playoffs. It does open up the offense. If this offense can get hot at the right time, they can be a high-scoring offense. That essentially their defense.
Yesterday.
Yeah, if that's what I'm saying. Like, you can improve upon that, and then it's just open. It's going to open up a lot of people, and if they do it right, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, we can probably get our defense to be a little bit better, but if you outscore that defense by a lot, if this works out, they could score 33, 34 points a game and still make the playoffs.
Let's be honest, they won the game yesterday. The kicker missed 2 field goals. Like that was gimme.
It's a good point.
One of them was so like. again, I think they are there. I see the difference, and he's Devontae Adams, right? But I don't know. I feel like there were other needs on the team. Basically, was my point. But
I mean,
Want me to move?
circling back, we also have the Bills and Amari that are going to be playing together, and Josh Allen with the first time in his career that he may be playing with a competent quarterback.
Yeah.
How about those apples?
no, like I think this is legit a move that puts Bills over the top. Like he had Shakir, I think he was the number one target. You would look for him in third downs and stuff like that. But now I think this really puts him over the top. I wanted to ask you guys: does this mean a downgrade for Kincaid and Cook rest of season if like Amari Cooper comes up to speed in that offense? Maybe even Allen downgrade
So
for Allen.
first of all, I wouldn't say it's a downgrade to the rushing attack. I think based on what we saw last night, I think the offensive coordinator has the mindset of focusing on the running the football. I think that's his number one priority. The one thing that I think this does is I think it adds a weapon to Allen's arsenal and an elite wide receiver. The only hesitation that I would have is where Devontae is going back with Aaron Rodgers, Jared Cook, or not Jared Cook, Amari Cooper is going to an entirely new offensive scheme with an offensive quarterback that he's never played with. I don't know the stats behind this, but I don't think any wide receivers in these positions have had a huge success when they move teams in the middle of the year.
Diggs, right? That was one example.
Did he get moved mid-year? I thought it was at the end of the year.
It was before the season started, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, mid-season trades for wide receivers, in my opinion, typically don't make a huge impact. They're obviously gonna make some impact, and you still have a good quarterback, but I don't know that it's gonna be off the charts.
But to be fair, I don't think any have been. I don't think any have been like a combination that's played together for multiple years like them.
No, that's what I was saying. Like Devontae and Aaron is definitely gonna make an impact because they play with each other. But like Amari Cooper going to the Bills, I don't know how good Amari is gonna be going forward. I think he's definitely gonna still get the targets. He's definitely gonna make an impact, but I don't know that it's gonna be affecting, like, I mean, it may affect Kincaid a little bit, but Kincaid's been like, definitely not lived up to my expectations. But.
Here's my thing. A lot of times, and then we'll get on to the next points, just because we do have a guest and we are live on YouTube. There's a couple questions that have come our way, which we'll answer towards the end of the live stream. The one thing I want to say is a lot of times that gets missed on these trades is that when we get those names and they get brought in, there's always an addition that seems to either do a lot better with that name or will do a lot worse with that name. So for these trades, I'm looking to see at Kincaid and I'm looking at Wilson to see, will their games elevate because of these moves or will they actually go down? Because then at the end of the day, if their game elevates, both teams are just going to continue to be this high caliber expectation. Jets not so much because we know where they're at, but I'm saying for Buffalo, we can see them continuing to have this high rise movement that they didn't have early on when Diggs was there. So I do see it where we need to kind of see where we're at with the teams now. The moves have been made. Let's see who else can improve, not just the names that got traded.
Yeah, no, I think Kincaid is a good question. I feel like it'll be again, like Miller's right. I think it's a run first offense, not just a running back, even Josh Allen included. But then I think, let's say they pass 30% of the time, 40% of the time. Now that pie will be divided up against like all the names that are out there. So I don't see Josh Knox scored a touchdown yesterday. I don't think Kincaid's value is going back up. If anything, it takes a hit.
I'll disagree with that. I from what I've seen, and I was at the Baltimore game, and judging by some clips I've seen online too, Kincaid's getting doubled, sometimes tripled up, and why not? There's no real deep threat. The only routes I'm seeing Coleman run are like back shoulders or just straights. I don't really understand what's going on there. There doesn't seem to be a lot of versatility.
Yeah,
so,
Coleman supposedly is slow to pick up the playbook. So
there you go. So they're giving him the routes. Anyway, I think Cooper I know he hasn't graded well, but he is playing with Deshaun Watson, so I don't know what to make of that. But if he's able to stretch the field, I think you could see what made Kincaid show promise last year in taking those, middle post routes of 10 yards or so, and, be stretch the field a little bit. So I think there's some hope for him, but we'll see.
I mean, that's the argument that is being made right now for Garrett Wilson. Now, obviously, these last 2 weeks, he's had really good weeks, right? But weeks 1 through 4, he was pretty mediocre to below average. So a lot of people were calling him, well, maybe he isn't an elite 1A wide receiver. Maybe having a guy like Devontae that takes the attention away will make him more effective. Now, obviously, these last 2 weeks, he's had a really good week. So maybe it will drain on that. You can't expect him to be going for 100 plus in a TD with Devontae on that team anymore. But that same premise could be used over in Buffalo as well. It may Amari Cooper capturing more attention could be bringing in allow Kincaid to have a little more offense, which I would appreciate in one of my leagues because I did draft Kincaid, and I know Jeff feels the same way.
Drafted him twice.
Bad decision.
The sad part is there's really not. Yeah. Tight end's such a cluster. There's like nothing to get. Remember how I feel like is this every year for fantasy in August? Like, hey, this is the year for tight end. They're gonna blow up.
Well, that was definitely last year was pretty good. Wasn't last year pretty good?
Yeah, so
Laporta was good. Kelsey was good. Andrews was good.
Didn't Kelsey suck last year?
I don't think Kelsey's ever sucked. And then you had what's his name from Arizona? He was good.
McBride, yeah.
McBride was good.
Yeah, okay. I guess I'm thinking more of highly drafted players.
Yeah, I was about to say
Laporta and McBride.
I forget his name. That's the one
Pitts.
that always seems to. Yeah, I feel like that's the name that always like. Oh my God, he'll have a breakout year, and it's like.
Every year he's gonna break out.
It's gonna be now because Marvin Harrison's injured, which we're gonna talk about next. Let's talk about injuries. Okay, we have to talk about it. It's fantasy. It's part of fantasy football. Quick highlights here. The 49ers backfield, right? Mason, who's been probably a league winner for you so far, if you drafted him, he's working on a shoulder sprain. Is day-to-day. Is, I think, likely out this week. I think it's a pain tolerance issue. They said they could give him a shot, and supposedly he could play. But given the fact he's a running back and shoulder probably takes the first impact in a lot of these hits, I think he probably sits out. And McCaffrey is week to week. Isaac Guerrero, I hope I'm saying that right. He might have some stash value, if not the start of this week. In 49ers, let's see. Marvin Harrison, like I talked about, Chris Olave, they're both concussed, so likely out at least a week. Rashid Shaheed is nursing a knee injury. Hammy issues for running back. Travis Etienne, Jerome Ford, and Tajay Spears, they're all out at least multiple weeks with the hammy issue, it seems like.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with this 49ers running back room. I mean, obviously, because we all want to punch Jeff in the gut a little bit more with his CMC pick and him riding the IR spot. He's projected to
winning record.
He's projected to come back in early November. Who knows what's going to happen with that? Jordan Mason's hurt now. I know I'm affected by that in one of my leagues, so we'll see. I don't know what to do with them, to be honest. I don't know that Isaac Guerrero, as you said, is going to be that effective. I don't know if he's as versatile as Jordan Mason is as far as being able to catch the ball out of the backfield. I mean, last game, he was running sub 2 until he had that 75-yard running play. So he wasn't that effective. So who knows how that's going to play out.
All right. With that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick comment from the live stream. We have a comment here from Juan, solid name. Fellas, I just traded Tank Dell and Josh Jacobs for Justin Jefferson. My wide receivers are Suss, DJ Moore, Wando, Ridley, Myers. My running backs are, that was kind of fast, so let's put that at 20. Walker, Williams, and Brees. Fair trade. 10-man league, head-to-head points.
Dude,
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, especially with your wide receiver being slightly sus, like you put it. Dude, heck of a trade. Props to you. It's really hard to trade. I've been trying to trade. No one will trade with me. So
Is this a
Because
keeper
you make
league?
horrible offers.
Yeah, well, if this is a keeper league, it's kind of interesting that it went through like that. But
No, I
To me,
mean,
it's not.
right now you have really solid running backs. So the fact that you were able to get an elite wide receiver to add to your team, I think, is very good.
and then continued on in the process of picking up Josh Downs and Tracy Jr. off waivers for Josh Jacobs' replacement.
yeah, Tracy has been good. I haven't. Wait, I have that's like right on Tracy. I have him in one of my leagues. He's been doing decent for me. But Singletary is coming back again. It'll get messy in that backfield. So good luck with that. Josh Downs. I don't know how he did this week. I haven't looked, but
Did really good.
he was supposed to be a heck of a play. So kudos on
Josh
that.
Downs did really good this week. Tracy, I would foresee him being or possibly taking over that job going forward. I mean, if you're a Giants, you're not going to sit here and rely on Devin Singletary to be your running back. You want the young guy, and he's definitely shown that he's capable of leading that backfield going forward. I think he was like a 6th round pick or something like that. So it's
Just pray Richardson doesn't come back for Indy.
I think that's that was a plane trying to catch us, see if that was even worth talking about. But I'm glad we got through that point. What else we got? Because then after we end the podcast, we're gonna stay on the live stream for a bit. We'll chat with everyone here, kind of go over some stuff that maybe we like to talk about, and then go from there. So, Boobin, what else we got?
I wanted to ask. This is mostly for me. Buy, sell, hold, drop. Jeff, feel free to chime in. Mark Andrews.
I love that we talk about our home league with you, Boobin. What do you want the experts, the previous champions, if you will, to
can you
chime
make
in
him
on your
disappear?
team?
Can you make him disappear, please? Thank you.
No, I can't do that to him.
Well, Mark Andrews, like, definitely nothing all season. Looks like he was involved. He scored a touchdown. Like, he's got name value. Do you see that trending? That passing game. Again, I think it's a run-first team in Baltimore, too. I don't know if I can say that.
So,
but, yeah, what's the outlook on Mark Andrews?
Go ahead, Jeff. I've talked a lot.
I don't really know for Mark Andrews because so I'm trying to think of where his targets have gone, and haven't looked at it too deeply. I know that Zay Flowers is starting to come on a little bit, so maybe that. Because Isaiah Likely is kind of whatever too. Like he was just a more or less a flash in the pan from week 1. Derrick Henry is getting Miller. You have a drink. It's good. Good for you.
I finished the bottle.
Congrats.
Thanks.
I remember my first beer.
I appreciate it.
If you notice the octave go a little higher there.
It did go a little higher there, didn't
For
it?
those
Beaker
listening,
Miller.
for those listening on audio, we will have the VOD on our YouTube page. You can see how ridiculous Miller looked at that time. But yeah, go ahead and continue. Sorry.
Anyway, yeah, back to Mark Andrews. The fact of the matter is, if you have him, I don't know who else you're going to have that you could replace him with. Maybe I know Hunter Henry did okay this week with Drake May. Maybe there's a connection there that is worth taking a shot on.
Is the tight end by community mentality over?
Committee?
No, by community. I like that.
Community.
Cook,
Well,
Chris. I want to hear this.
Yeah, it's they all hang out and they have their tight end school or
Yeah,
whatever.
the school, the tight end U. Tight end U. You're
Thank
right.
you, exactly. That's the community I was talking about. But since I got corrected, go fuck yourself. But just is that concept kind of done? Like I remember back in the day when you couldn't get a good tight end, you would actually draft 2 tight ends and just kind of play the matchups. Is that something that we don't do anymore, or am I living in the past?
No, that's a good point. Like I think like this year, like if you at least the consensus was if you didn't get the top 4 or 5, just like stream every week was the consensus. And honestly, it's probably been like top 2 and top 3, and basically after that is all crapshoot. So who the F knows? I'm struggling.
This year literally is tight end by community is the best way to play.
I got him to say it. I got him to say it.
Because like everybody between 1 and 20 is probably separated by a handful of points. George Kittle is obviously the far and away number 1 tight end, But after that, it's kind of a crapshoot. Now we have seen some progression this last week with tight ends that were drafted high and their totals. So going back to Mark Andrews, first of all, I don't think you're going to get what you want from Mark Andrews. And the only caveat that I would say is it seems like if Baltimore is in games, they may try to use him a little bit more. But if they're running away from games, blowouts, you're going to be seeing more of the rely on Derrick Henry, the running game, and just pounding the ball. So that could be something that you think about when you roll him out. Maybe if you think the game's going to be close, play Mark Andrews. If you think it's going to be a blowout, maybe you go another direction. But no, the tight ends this year it's been nuts, to be honest, because the tight ends haven't been that good. They've all been hit or miss. And George Kittle's really the only one that's kind of been like elite.
Yeah, I just checked. He's number 7 on my WAR chart after this week. He kind of snuck up.
I think
I know
even
he's had a
Miller
few
at
good
one
games.
point said
No,
that he
Kittle.
felt like Kittle was not going to have a good year, and here we are.
Well, like, if you look at 49ers,
Wow.
like, they had,
Wow, shots fired.
Well, because no, I was.
Hey,
ready to
Miller,
draft
remember
him.
when you were
I
wrong
was
on a
ready to
take?
draft him, and someone said, "Go with Kincaid. I don't think Kittle is going to have a good year."
So if you look at 49ers game plan, it seems like
That was a
Debo
fair
has a
take
game,
preseason.
like Kittle had a game, like Ayuk had a game. It was hard to predict who would get who, but it does look like more games have favored Kittle. He's been the healthiest of the bunch too.
Which is quite ironic. Like, who would guess that?
Right, exactly, and no contract issues that help too. One more name out there before we basically get to the end of the segments here. Tank Dell. Nico Collins is on ER, probably out next 3 weeks. He had a decent week this week. Stocks rising. We are holding. We are buying. Any thoughts? We can also have no thoughts, and that's also okay.
I mean, I think that he's going to be really good. I think CJ Stroud pushes the ball around. I think he is going to be the primary pass catcher going forward. But you also run into the situation where you have him and Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is getting a lot. I would almost argue, I don't fucking know. Dude, I haven't even thought about it. I've been drinking a lot, dude. I'm just like, like Stephon.
Now I really want to know.
No, he
Keep
got so
going,
excited
Miller.
about this episode
Like,
that he downed his liquor a lot faster than we're used
I feel like I would pay more for Stephon Diggs at this point than Tank Dell, just because he seems to have a pretty good connection.
I think it depends on what you're missing at this point. If you're able to make
all of them were wide receivers. I don't know what to tell you.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, if you have spots that you can throw it in a flex, sure. But I think if you have solid wide receivers that you don't have to rotate as much, or your bye weeks kind of work out, I think you're fine staying put too. I don't think it's something to dwell on.
All right. I think that's finito. That's the end of the segments here. Jeff, we appreciate you joining us. Thanks for jumping on. Before we head off,
Hold on, Jeff. Is there anything you want to plug? Jesus Christ! Bro.
That was literally what I was about to
Yeah,
say.
you took forever. Good Lord.
Follow me on Twitter at StatHoleSports, as Miller mentioned earlier, and I rudely cut him off. I do I blog for Barstool. I do a Tuesday morning Sad Stats blog. So you heard this week's main clips, but still read the blog. It's good. And so you can listen to my stats on Pardon My Take 2 every now and then when I get some that Big Cat or PFT read. So I guess that's it.
Oh, awesome, buddy. Thanks for jumping on. This is how we end the show every week. So tell us something you're looking forward to this week. It could be as nice as simple as breakfast tomorrow morning, or it could be like I'm going to London or something. I don't know. What are you up to this week?
Brazzers has a coupon apparently. Looking for...
It's a family podcast, Chris.
I thought it's coupon.
Oh my god, that was the most hilarious thing I've ever heard.
Now I need to know what
Brazzers
is
has
the
a logo,
coupon.
in case anyone's wondering.
Okay.
Is the coupon to London?
Jesus.
Did they have a coupon to London? Are we going to London?
I could have sworn.
Fuck all of you.
I could have sworn 3 weeks ago we said, you know what? We normally don't know how to answer that question. We should probably stop asking it. And I could have sworn we all agreed.
Oh,
And this question continues to get popped up, and I
it's
still
on
don't
the
know how to
agenda,
answer.
fuckers. Okay. My bad. Cut it off.
You know what? It's my birthday tomorrow. I'm looking forward to my birthday. There we go.
Happy birthday!
There we go.
Happy
I actually
birthday,
know
Chris.
The one time, and I saved you a text, Jeff. There you go.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
was
say.
just
Jeff,
gonna
you
say
don't
I'm
know
gonna
when to
text. I'm gonna text you tomorrow.
Yeah. That's really the only
If
time
I
I'll
remember.
probably have. And
Yeah, I'll still
funny
forget.
enough, on Friday, I have to have my first ever enema, so I'm looking forward to that too.
Oh no.
Oh God, that took a turn.
Yeah. So yeah. There
But
you go.
still, happy birthday!
There's the best answer.
Happy birthday!
Other than Chris's birthday, can we all look forward to just sitting on our couch and watching a lot of NFL Red Zone? Because that's all that's going to take place on Sunday. Because the Bears are off. They got a bye. We don't have to worry about anything. So it's just going to be sitting back and watching Red Zone. I'm going to love it.
I haven't got to sit on my couch and watch football for like a couple of weeks now. So that would be good to do.
All right, Boobin, take us home.
Did Jeff say his? I don't know if he did.
He did. You guys are drunk as shit. Take us home.
No, he
Yeah.
did. He doesn't even know what's happening.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
no, that's right. He has to answer the question that we thought.
You're
we were
about to outro.
No.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to? That was the question. I'm sorry.
Oh, this weekend? Yeah, pretty much. Well, it's actually Miller. It's 2 weeks in a row that we get to just sit and watch Red Zone, with nothing to worry about, technically. But yeah, it'll be good. I think and just prep for I'm just going to be thinking about Washington. That's going to be such a fun game. And we didn't mention that got flexed. That's flexed. That's a Nance Romo. It's Nance Romo. Nance Romo time.
At least it's not
In
Nance
2 weeks.
Brady.
Wait.
At least we don't have to deal with Brady.
I don't know, Jim. Get ready to learn. I don't know, Jim.
Wait. This guy said now they can flex any game, and people gave me shit for it. Right? Do you guys remember that? I said they can flex any game now after a certain week. And I got shit for it, but whatever. We'll cover
You're
that.
right. I recall. We'll post that, but yeah, I'll apologize ahead of time for that.
Thank you, Miller. I'm waiting on the apology.
He's shit faced.
Maybe next week.
All right, Boobin, take us home, and we're gonna hang out on live, and we'll just chit chat for a bit before we.
All right, people. Thank you for hanging out with us. Hopefully, we brought some positivity into your life. If we did, give us that follow, give us a subscribe. Hey, keep the feedback coming. We love it. We're growing as a part of it. We're a young podcast, so all the help, all the likes, everything is appreciated. Maybe someday in the near future, we'll bring some positivity into your life. Until then, we'll suffer in this misery together. Good night.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
At the Bears to win this week.